recording. Okay, so going to go ahead and get started, and anybody who comes in later, they can just latch on. So we are now on the Zoom and we are recording. So does anybody want to do the prayer, or I can do the prayer? I can do the prayer? Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And that is much prayer I'm going to be able to do. I think it's fine. So everybody can see like a really good picture of me, because the camera is currently on me. In the room, we also have our treasurer, Andre, and member Elegant. And I received a text, so I think some other people are going to come. Miss Elise is not feeling well, so she's not going to make it. Now feel free to check on her. I talked to her this morning, but I don't know who else is going to come in. I'm going to assume there might be any other than the people. I know somebody contacted me online, Allison. So for today, acceptance of agenda. So this is the agenda that I put together. Are there any questions about it? A motion to accept.
I move to accept the meeting agenda as it is.
Okay. And then you would just be the only second then.
Oh, I second.
All right, so we're accepting the agenda and we're moving forward. The meeting members for the September meeting. So because we do not have a corresponding secretary, I was going to try to capture the meeting minutes from the recording, and that's crazy. So the recording is what is going to be made available. The recordings are on our YouTube channel, and I will send that information out online as well. So I've done that before, so I'll just make sure everybody's aware to go to our YouTube, and you can see the recording. And actually there's a good bit with Keith Blossom from the last meeting, so you can hear him a lot better because he's on the recording for the Zoom. But yeah, it makes more sense until there is a recording secretary who's actually going to capture meeting minutes, then we just will use the visual. So that's for a September meeting, and that'll also be the same for this meeting's minutes. I'll share the recording on YouTube. The homecoming. Who went to homecoming? Am I the only one? It was awesome. It was so wonderful. I had the best time. We did get a chance to meet with the students. We took a picture with them on the Board of Governors Day, and so that was. I forgot something. I forgot to bring the stuff from the Board of Governors, so you could see the reports from the other chapters. Ours was the best right up until the Memphis person came in, and they had their stuff like, okay, it was a lot of fluff. But since they'll be watching this, no, it was good. It was so amazing. But no, theirs was like, they had it like bound in like a little reporting book with the clear on the front, like, you put your reports in. I was like, who paid for this? Super extra. Super extra. But okay. But so ours was the best right up until I saw theirs. But I think we had like a lot of really good content. So if you think about the stuff that we've done this year, and I know it doesn't seem like we've done as much, but we did 3 college fairs, the Mardi Gras Ball, the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus reception. We did the HBCU 5K walk run. We did the HBCU gala. And then we had our Catherine Drexel Feast Day that we collected cans to donate. We had some things that we just donated to a shelter that we did that. We had our holiday event last year. So we did quite a lot. It doesn't feel like it because it's like passage of time, but over the course of the last year, we've done a lot. So we were able to share the report of the things that the chapter has done. We currently have about 31 financial members. Oh, we're at 32. Okay, even better. So 32 financial members, which is fantastic. The tailgate tent, our tailgate tent was better than everybody else's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was. So if you saw any other pictures on Instagram or Facebook, our tailgate tent was better. Chicago was right next to us, and then right next to them was New Orleans alumni. So New Orleans Alumni chapter was right next to them, and theirs was okay. And you know, theirs was pretty organized. Chicago was run by their students, but it was not as organized as ours. So we did get a lot of people like, man, you need to help the Chicago kids. You guys are, no, they were great. No, Chicago, no. Look, I even took their pictures. So they have a picture of them from all together. They took a picture of the tent. I took it. So theirs was great. They had some of that Garrett's popcorn. Everybody loves the Garrett's popcorn. Yes. It's really good. Yeah. So they had Garrett's popcorn. We had chicken wings and mumbo sauce. Yeah, ours was lit. We had chicken wings and mumbo sauce. We had decorations. We had a big banner that said Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia alumni. Yeah, we did have a DJ that was playing go-go music. And so, yeah, people were kind of excited when they came over, and they were like, oh, go-go, yeah. So it was pretty cool. I think that went really, really well. Also, we put up a picture of our golf hole. So if you saw those pictures online, then we did get we were hole number 5 at the golf challenge that they have. So that went up. And let me see what else. The Board of Governors meeting. So let me just give a little more background about that. It was nice this year in that we were talking more about, it was less of them giving reports, less of when I say them, I'm talking about the administration, like Verrett and Ann McCall and Curtis Wright and Patrice Mercadale as chief of staff. So it was less reports from them and more focused on the alumni and what the alumni need to do and accomplish. We did make a bylaw change in that they're adding on some, I think, was it a parliamentarian that we had to vote in? They didn't have one. So we voted to add a parliamentarian. And then one of the significant things to come out is they're trying to raise $1 million as we go for a scholarship fund, an endowed scholarship as we go into 2025. So we're marching quickly towards our 100 year. So the goal is to raise $1 million, and that can be obviously in installments. So they are looking for alumni to at least give $5,000. So that could be $5,000 per year over 5 years. It can be however much, so $1,000 a year. Sorry, I said $5,000 a year. No, don't look. See, that's why I wasn't a math major. No, it's $1,000 per year over 5 years. So, and you can set, yeah, it's totally possible, and you can set the parameters on what that is. And so they're excited that we might exceed that. One of the other things, so let me see, that's pretty much it, I think, for that. I'm looking to see if I missed anything. It's not on here, but one of the other things that was discussed at the Board of Governors meeting was the girls' trip. So I posted about that on the Facebook page. The girls' trip is to Costa Rica, and it is in October of, I want to say it's the 1st through 4th or something like that of October 2020. It's $645 for 4 days. Isn't that cheap? Yeah. Okay, so I was like, oh, I'm all about it. It's like super cheap. They've never had, so this is a trip just for Xavier women. Yeah, it's a trip for Xavier women. So they're gonna talk about it a little, and they have only so many slots. So I was like, I'm in, I wanna do it. $645, that's super cheap, I wanna do it. So the only thing that, obviously that doesn't include the plane because it's gonna be different for whoever is coming from wherever they're coming from. But yeah,
But it's just girls.
Just the girls.
I mean, school.
Well, one of the other things they talked about at Board of Governors too, because it was really an opportunity for us to kind of showcase the things that we've been doing and have done. And so one of the other things they were talking about at Board of Governors as well is an organization that was Xavier Women of Philanthropy.
Mhm.
And so there's not a huge group of women in that. There are a couple of them. One of them is some people from our area. I know Alexis Herman. And I was like, she's class of 69. You know who Alexis Herman is? So she's a former secretary of the Department of Labor. She is a Xavier, right? She's also a Delta. She graduated in 1969. Actually, Regina Benjamin was there. I missed taking a picture with her. She was at homecoming. So she was in the VIP tent and stuff. I was like, so I read it all fangirling, like, yay, but I didn't take a picture, but it was wonderful. So we had a really great time. So I think that homecoming was a win. Ultimately, everybody did a great job. The 1925 Society, which we know is Ronnie Favors, who's in our chapter, he did a wonderful job in terms of all of those activities. And so I think everything came out really, really well. Let's see, treasurer's report. That's on you.
Yes.
That was the end of old business, new business.
Okay, treasurer's report. So we have a beginning balance. Well, our balance as of last meeting, September 21st, was $10,463.87. Since then, we've seen an income of $875, which included dues and the donations for the tent and the holiday party. We sold tickets for the holiday party already. And our expenses were $3,210.63, which included the holiday party deposit, website maintenance, the homecoming tent donations, the DMV sponsored tent that we had, the representatives travel for the Board of Governors meeting, and the Mardi Gras 2020 deposit. And our ending balance as of today is $8,128.24.
Okay. And I do have $1,000 check to give you.
Okay.
From Dillard, because we covered their deposit for the Mardi Gras. Yeah. So I don't have any questions about the report. Thank you for the submission. We really can't conduct much business. I think we're not at quorum. We're not at 25%, right?
Mhm.
So we're not at quorum, but there's that. So we didn't actually receive any new correspondence other than something I shared on social media, and a copy of it will be in the update email that goes out every blue moon from the chapter. It's a email that says, November updates or whatever. So the November update will have that. Save the date for next year. Homecoming is November. Yeah, they are already on it. November the 4th through the 8th. 2020 is homecoming. The Xavier girls trip, the information about that is on there. And of course, Give Love Xavier's on there. Again, it is in April. I have pushed very, very hard to get this removed from April and back in June, because ultimately in this area, people not coming out. And so
Cold, it's raining.
it's cold, it's raining, right. Well, I don't even know that it's gonna be that. We just don't want it in April. People wanna be outside. And we've had really good turnout when we've had it outside. So they're saying this will be the last year that it'll be in April, and then they'll consider pushing it back to June where it was. So we'll see. National Alumni Association update. So I kind of gave that a little because nothing's changed outside of what occurred at Board of Governors, but you should expect to see more information regarding the scholarship, the endowed scholarship, and I believe it is endowed in the name of Sister Monica Laughlin. So one of the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament. DC HBCU Alumni Alliance. So I have not gone to these meetings in like the last couple they have them every month. I've not been there because, well, we don't have to technically go to anymore. We have fulfilled all the requirements for us to receive our profit sharing from the HBCU walk run as well as from the gala. So the requirement, I want to say, was for 5 or 6 meetings, and we did like 6 or 7. So we've made our requirement if we don't go to another one. There was one on the 10th. Jamila usually goes. I'm not sure if she went to the last one, but as I stated, we're fine if she didn't. We've met our quota. So the checks for that for the profit sharing portion should be coming out either towards the end of this month. I think the drop dead date that they have to have all checks in the mail is December the 5th, with the requirement that we cash them before the end of this year, which is the end of their fiscal year. So we have to cash all the checks by December 31st. So it should be one check that we're receiving. And I think it's gonna average out to about, see, this is me doing math in my head again, but about just over 2,000, right? Just over 2,000. So there's that. The next is the holiday brunch event at Ivy City Smokehouse. So Ivy City was chosen by our chairs, Danielle Haney and Danielle Haney and Calandra Tate-Moore. It's in Northeast. It actually, there's pretty good street parking. I actually parked in the street, went out on the street when I went over there, but there's also a parking garage with like a block from there. So that's a pretty good location. And also I sent a notification to Xavier as well, because they were looking for a place to have the admitted students function that we had last year at Busboys and Poets on 14th and V. So I recommended that location for that as well, because the room that we'll be in for the holiday event can accommodate 135, I think, seated, and they said like 300 something standing. So that might be a great location. And then I've heard that the food is really good. So we'll see. The brunch is going to be December the 14th. I have on here 2020. Please ignore that. It's December the 14th, 2019. So that should be corrected. And I'll put the correction in. It's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the cost is $50. So I looked at the amount that we paid last year. We paid $40. So the difference obviously is it's a different location. I didn't want to go back to Smith Commons, even though I like it. I like that it's Black owned, but it was very nice. The food was great. I don't like that it's not handicap accessible. And the room was just a little small. It was tight. It was tight for us. So I was looking for something with a bit more space. And I think this will afford us a bit more space. And then there's stuff over there. So if people want to still hang out, like City Winery is over there. I went to a oyster bar not far from there. So there's still things to do if people want to stay and hang out in the city, but it's a much larger location for us, which is better. So we're not on top of each other. So the Eventbrite for that event is already set up. It's on the Facebook. It's also accessible through our Instagram, and it's also accessible, will be accessible on the update email that'll go out probably within this week. That's okay, welcome. Look, I'll turn this around so maybe if it's on you guys, that'll be better. How about that? There you go, you're on camera. So the next thing, the Mardi Gras Ball. So we did choose a location. The Mardi Gras Ball is going to be April 18th, 2020 at Camelot by Martin's, which is in Upper Marlboro. So the first year that we had the Mardi Gras Ball, it was at Martin's Crosswinds in Greenbelt. This is, I didn't even know this place was over there. I thought that was a church because it's kind of set back from the road. So it's going to be a Camelot by Martin's. The price is going to remain $85. there is still going to be the discounted tickets. So they can get discounted tickets. I want to say through the end of this year. I'm waiting for the tickets. The actual paper tickets, but we can start selling those immediately.
I was about to ask, is that live?
It is live.
It is on Eventbrite. Okay.
Nisi made it live.
Okay.
So, but I want them to agree to the $75 and that we're ready to immediately sell, because we need to start selling at the same time. So live, yes. Can you access it? No.
Oh.
Because we need to do it at the exact same time. So we need Dillard to agree on the date time that we're going to make the tickets available. But I believe this year is still 75. Next year is going to be 85. Again, I'm buying a table just like I usually do. But I think we can do this year. We're going to have I would like for us to have a speaker, and my goal is to see if we can get Tim Adams to do it, since he was just recently elected mayor of Bowie. It's the first African-American mayor for Bowie in their history. So he's out here making history as a Xavierite. And then the other thing is, I would like for him to speak to us about how scholarship and HBCU attendance was helpful in terms of changing his life and the trajectory of what he was able to do, because he's a successful businessman in his own right. But I think it's important as we continue to grow the Mardi Gras Ball that we start to kind of do more other than just eating and drinking. So I would like for us to have that discussion and understanding that this is a scholarship ball. So our purpose is to raise money for scholarships. That's it. We can do a lot of stuff, but in my opinion, Alumni is here to make it easier for whoever might come behind us. This fellowship, but let's make it better for the kids behind us. So we do have a chair now. It's Reginald Salter. And so we've attended a couple of meetings thus far, and I shared the information I have with them towards making the decor and making donations a little better. And we're hopeful that we'll see great things. I think the decor, because there really wasn't any last year, so that's going to be improved. Also, I would entertain any suggestions toward what we should do regarding volunteering, because Xavier didn't have any volunteers last year. And the problem is that we have to have some. So if we have to comp a ticket or something like that, we might need to comp some tickets, because we need people to agree to volunteer on our side, because all the volunteers last year came from Dillard. We didn't have any because nobody was like, I'm not going to do it. But we really need that. It's important. So if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions or ways that could be made better, you're welcome to bring them me, but also think about bringing them to Dr. Salter, since he'll be the Mardi Gras Ball chair. Any questions about the Mardi Gras Ball? Okay, Crab Feast membership event. So this was my idea. I still have not found a chair for this Crab Feast Mardi Gras Ball event. I would like for this to be completely free to all financial members. So obviously their spouses, they can either pay dues and become a financial member of the chapter, or they can buy a ticket. But, and for young people, I think children, we only do them at like $10 per child, because I don't know how much crab a kid can eat. But I think this could be super fun. We could have it at one of the parks here. We have a tent now, but other people can bring their tents and we can sit out. But it's really just for us to fellowship and have time. We don't have any type of fellowship membership event. So there's nothing that we do just to get together that we're not asking people for money, which is, I mean, I guess we don't have to have that, but you don't have to pay anything. This would just be something the chapter's giving back. So I would really love for us to do this. And I'll keep looking for a chair, but what's ultimately going to happen is if I can't find one by the end of February, the event won't happen because I just don't have the bandwidth to plan it on my own.
When would that be?
I was thinking mid-June. So like we could do the end of May, early June. Ultimately the date's flexible, it's up to us, but I would like for it to obviously be warm so we can be outside at a park or something like that. But yeah, if I can't find anybody by February, then I'll stop bringing it up because I can't take it on myself, but I would love for us to have something just to kind of get together and hang out, that we're not asking people to pull out money out of their pocket. We could just kind of hang out and be Xavierites and take pictures.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it. I've never planned anything for it. So
Okay.
I need a little bit.
Okay, well, that's great.
I'm away 1 week in June.
Okay,
But yeah, we can talk about that later.
okay, well, great. Okay, well, then that's positive. So, yeah, it's pretty much going to turn out to be a picnic, and a lot of stuff we're going to have to jump in on because buying the bushels of crab is going to obviously come out of chapter funds, but I think we can afford it.
Okay.
A bushel of crab is what, like 6 or 7 dozen?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know anything.
huh?
Your experience with the Olympics, I think we'll have a lot of people coming out. No, free. We want to try to get as many people coming out.
Right.
From talking to them, we were at the homecoming stuff, and something that the other chapters did.
So the one other chapter that did that was the New Orleans chapter. And so here is my thought about it. The New Orleans chapter was pretty much defunct. They had like 4 financial members. They said they were going to have a crawfish boil, and it was free to all financial members. And so they went from having about 4 to having over 120 financial members in the chapter because people wanted to come to the free crawfish boil. And so I'm hoping that we'll get as many people to come out to the crab feast because it's free, basically. So the only thing that cost was if you wanted to just pay to come but not become a financial member, then I think it was like more than their dues. So like our dues are $50. So if you want to just come but you don't want to be a chapter member, then it would be $60. Or just become a chapter member and it's $50, which is what most people ultimately did. And then for children, obviously a smaller amount because they're not going to eat as much.
I think location and probably a location where metro access is made accessible.
I think it would definitely help out. If you can get off of the train and just walk over to a place, that's perfect. If you have to, even if you could get off the bus, but if there's like no accessibility other than car, that would be rough. So definitely I would like for us to secure a location that makes sense and that it's on a bus or a train route. But in terms of the parks, I know Maryland has beautiful parks. I know DC has beautiful parks. I don't know anything about Virginia. And my only thing I would prefer if we could find a DC park. My only thing with Virginia is the people on the Maryland side are hard to get, and vice versa. It's really hard to get people from Maryland to Virginia and people from Virginia to Maryland. I know. But hey, if it's there, if we find a location in Virginia and that's the best one, hopefully it won't be too far out. Maybe we can still remain closer to DC and on the metro. But that's basically it. We just need to find where the location would be, number 1, and is it accessible and things like that, number 2. But I think this could be really, really cool. I would love for us to do this, and I think it could be a membership driver, and it could also just be fun. So
Just crab, I mean, combination, right?
so you know what I'm thinking? So, and this is what Elise was saying. Miss Elise was saying, what if we do the bushels of crab, but then we also have it like potluck, like we used to have the freshman send-off when it used to be potluck. So ultimately, I know, Alvin, you and Andre, you were Elegant. Were you at the send-off?
Not the most recent one, but all the others.
Yeah, so we can't do potluck really for that anymore because it's huge.
Really?
No, it's just gotten too big. Yeah, it's a lot easier for something like that for us to just pay to have it catered, because there were about 106 people at our freshman send-off. And then some of the feedback we got from the surveys that were sent out were that people were like, oh, it didn't start on time. I was like, well, it did start on time. It started on time according to the schedule that we set. Kids and parents, they don't have any idea. So it's always been like this laid back thing, right? And so there wasn't the structure. Now we actually have to have more of the structure. We have to put those things in place now because people are looking for that.
Will it be a place where, you know, you can barbecue, you can that, or kind of like just have what everything's already made?
What, at the
The park, you know, whatever
Barbecue.
location.
park? I think barbecue would be fun.
You know, that, and you bring it in, make it there.
I think that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't think it.
Crab too.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean that would make it a lot of fun. It make it a lot of food too. So we gotta make sure people eat all the crab. Make sure it's gone.
I'm sure that probably
Yeah, I don't think that'll be an issue.
You really don't? I don't eat the crab
Oh.
because it's gross. It's like all
It is
it's
a
all in the
scavenger, but-
together. And you gotta like pull it apart.
It's a lot of work. I'm not gonna sit there and
So
eat
we
10
would
of them
just-
to get
We
full.
would just
but-
do the crabs, not crab legs as well. Just
No,
like
we would
bushel.
just be doing bushels of crab. Hopefully all males, because. But yeah, we would just be doing the bushels of crab. But like, probably like some water, but you know, it would be potluck, so people could donate, bring in drinks and things like that. But we ultimately just be kind of hanging out at a big picnic and just having a good time, eating lots of food.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. Whoever, I guess the thing about the food, though, whoever's gonna bring it, you know, that's the question. Like, how do they cook it? Stuff like that. I
How
mean,
do they cook the food?
well, no, I mean, you know, some people food you don't want to eat.
Don't eat
Or
their
how
food.
they-
Yeah, but how do you?
But you won't know.
You won't know that. I mean, like soda drinks, chips, those are easy.
Right. Ice cream.
Stuff that we can, you know, and
That's not really been an issue because it's not like we're making, I didn't think for most of us, not on camera, but for most of us, we're not cooking with our cat sitting on the countertop. So usually we're,
Are you all right?
No, I was just thinking.
we're
The
not,
way she said most of us. I was like,
Well, sometimes that's the best food. Just that can
I know, no,
I don't.
no.
No offense. I don't
No.
know.
Yeah, no. So most of us are not cooking with the cat
Like
sitting
right there.
on the countertop next to us. No shade to the cat owners, right? But so it's not been a problem in the past. So up until like a year or so ago, we were still doing potluck for our freshman send-off.
Right.
It's just become difficult to manage. So it's become difficult to manage just because it's just too many people and trying to get to coordinate and tell people what to bring, because ultimately people bring a lot of desserts because they're easy to just go and stop and pick up some cookies, but you can't serve us a whole bunch of cookies because we want chicken and green beans, right?
Yeah.
So
So catering is a possibility, just having someone, that's the thought. I mean, one of the options is having someone cater, like certain foods, hey, let's pay to have this catered.
So if I'm not opposed to that, if we did that, then we are looking at more costs.
Yeah, because it'd be less.
So there would definitely be more cost involved in that, and I really want this to be an event where we don't ask people for money. So for those people who really are like, oh, I don't know what to bring. Okay, well, stop and bring some rolls. People love King's Hawaiian rolls. Bring some bread. You know, people will eat it. But I just would like for it to be something that we're not really that people aren't incurring expense for. I just want people to come and have a good time.
I mean, definitely where it's a good time to just come out and celebrate, because there's a lot of Xavier alumni here that they don't try. show up to a meeting and just.
Well, that's the thing. Most people won't show up to meetings. They'll show up to events.
Right.
And so that's to that point. I'll bring that up since you touched on it lightly. What ultimately was going to happen, because I'm at capacity. So when people volunteer to do stuff and they don't like follow through with it, then it means I have to do it, because then there's other people involved and I can't do it anymore. I'm just out of time. So we ran into that a little bit at homecoming, because people had great ideas for things they wanted to do, and ultimately everything came together beautifully. But I was a little stressed trying to make sure that we got everything done and meeting the needs of the students on campus who, you know, they were like, oh, we're gonna meet you. They're gonna late to class and missing class so that they can make sure that they met with us to take a picture with us. So, and then we only had, I wanna say 4 alumni who showed up. So I don't want us to do that in the future. Let's not make any promises that we know we possibly can't keep, especially when we involve outside people. So that was my concern with the young people. I just don't want us to say, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna meet with you and we're gonna talk to you, we're gonna share our business cards and stuff, and then it doesn't happen. So I don't want that to be the case moving forward. So it's always gotta be like this fine line, like when we're saying we're gonna do this thing, if we feel like it's a maybe, I might not be able to make it, speak up as quickly as possible so that we can pivot if we need to, because it will be hard once you start involving other people to make that change. So that's just one of the things. But I think the crafty, like I said, it could be great, but it would just be, I just don't want it to be an expense. We have so many Xavierites in this area who will come out to events. Like if you can't went to the CBC, did you go to the CBC?
It was late. It was like 2 days before. It was something like.
It was the day before.
Oh, you know
They sent
what?
that email the
Okay,
day
so
before.
they sent it. Okay, so I knew
I
about
would
it.
have loved to go.
I knew
was
about
trying to
it
figure out what
earlier.
event I could go to.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice, but I forgot about that. They did tell people late. I think what ultimately happened at first is they were afraid if they sent it out early that so many people would come, and then they realized they didn't have as many RSVPs, and then they sent it out. You get what you get.
That is wrong. So,
Yeah.
Well, I can't control what comes out of Xavier.
this is true.
You know, what would have been better if they would have actually given people the time, but hey, you had to RSVP for it, and have a certain limit, just cut it off.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then
that
don't
way-
accept it.
Right. The last minute, I think that's something that they probably need to work on. That, because that was the national chapter. I mean, the national they did, right?
That was
Xavier University.
Big Xavier.
Yeah.
It wasn't the National Alumni Association. It was Xavier University.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah, that would have helped me just say, hey, we were at capacity.
So that's a good idea. I will take that back. I'll take that information back and I will share it, because I think ultimately what we run into on the Xavier side when we deal with, because who we're normally dealing with is Lucretia Jones and Kim Reese, and they've been really open to our ideas and things that we want to share. We're saying it's a concern. So I'll take that back to them and let them know, like, hey, can you let us all know this information sooner? So we were asked not to share, and so I didn't, but it would have been great if there's something like that in future, because I think a lot more alumni would have come out. And I got a chance actually that night to see alumni I haven't seen in years, some of them.
I think it's maybe they're concerned because I mean everything was free. It was free wine, free food. So maybe they just feel they didn't have enough. But you know, that would help. I heard like secondhand. Like, really, I wasn't really sure until I saw the picture coming up. I heard something was going to happen. So that's how I was able to prepare it, because it really came out the day before, 2 days before.
It was the day
Yeah,
before.
you know,
It was in
like
the
a week.
evening
I
time.
know
Yeah. So that was just,
Yeah.
and I love giving to Xavier, and I do. That's one thing I would really think they need to work on.
Okay. No, but I will take that feedback and share it. And my hope is that they'll do another CBC reception, because that was super well received. And the nice thing is it's a way to highlight our chapter, because it would be here. It's not going to be anywhere else. So when people come up, they're going to do something with DC chapter. So I think that would be wonderful if we had that moving forward. As a reminder, and it's not on here, actually I'll touch on that when we get to the next thing, which is announcements. So for our announcements, the XU Leadership Conference, the next one is going to be in Houston, Texas.
So they did choose
Houston, yes. Houston is next year, and the year after it's going to be in Orlando. And that's going to be June the 20th. I want to say 20th through 25th or something like that, or 20th through 23rd. It's only 3 days, but give me to try to remember the date. Is it June the 20th?
The 21st is Father's Day. 20th is a Saturday. The 21st.
So Father's Day is on a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So it must be that Thursday through Saturday or something like that, because it ends on Saturday.
Oh.
So yeah. And Houston is fine with me because that's my home. I'm gonna go see my family. The next Alumni Alliance walk run is gonna be the 27th. And then the freshman send-off is August the 1st. So we actually need to look into securing a location for the freshman send-off. And because it was so large, we need to find a space that's going to hold at least 130 people. I was surprised we had so many, and I'm saying 106. I know one of the people who was checking people in wasn't doing it right, and he's like, my bad, I didn't check in everybody. So of those who were actually checked in, there were 106. So I keep saying about, because there probably were more that we didn't count. But if we know that that was 106 people, we need to plan space for at least 130. And we should be okay if we plan space for at least 130. But that's fully funded by the chapter now, which means it's incumbent upon alumni. That's one of those things we do have to donate for. So there's things that we will need to pay for. Freshman send-off is one of them. If somebody was able to coordinate a potluck, I'm not against it, but that's just too much at that point. It's easier just to purchase the food. And then actually we had been purchasing food from like Sardi's. So we were still spending about 700. So with the location, I don't know, like 700 or 800.
We on food, yeah, somewhere around 700.
Yeah, so we spent like 700 or 800 on food.
Wait for Sardi's, but
Sardi's. We had Sylvester last year, which was about the same. We had a lot of food, but, well, not last year, the year before last. And it was just a lot of food, but I mean, what are you gonna do with it? But it just made more sense to just purchase it than to try to do potluck, because that's just a really heavy lift to try to coordinate that number of people. It's just too much. So that is one of the easier things to do. So freshman send off, we do need to look for a location, and I'm gonna look at some of the schools in DC so that, because we need to put the request in for them at least 3 months in advance to their real estate services. And we need to do it before the end of the school year when they're not as available.
Instead of like potluck again for the freshman send-off?
I'm not against a potluck, but I'm not gonna coordinate it. So someone would have to, it would not be me. That's just a lot of moving parts trying to coordinate. And then Eventbrite, which is how we send out the notification, changed their setup. So we used to be able to have people mark if they were a Fox or if they were an incoming freshman or things like that, but now that's a paid service. So we would have to know who actually were the freshmen who are just the alumni who are coming in, and then be able to secure from them to make sure they understand this is what you bring. If you're a male and this is your names are letter here through here, bring a meat item. If you're a female and your names are letters here through here, then you need to bring a side item. It just is a lot to coordinate. It just is easier just to have it catered, honestly. So, but that's one of the things we need to work on for the freshman send-off, because that is already, the date's already set August the 1st. And so I'm not sure who the president's going to be at that time, because that's the elections are coming up. So For nominations, that period is going to be March 2020, and the actual elections will take place in May 2020. The end of the term for the current officers would be June 30th, 2020. So the new officers would take over July. My request for officers, obviously, I can't make people do anything, is that they stay in their office until the next actual meeting. Just to help the next people go along, because it's really hard when you just drop somebody into a role and they're just trying to figure it out. So they don't have to, like, you know, if you're running or not running, just you, for example, if you're going to be treasurer, I'm not saying, you know, don't let this person come in and take over or whatever, but I'm saying just be present to help, right? Okay. And that's pretty much it. Did anybody else have any announcements?
I know I'm late, but the holiday brunch event, could you recall that again?
Yeah, so the holiday brunch is going to be at Ivy City Smokehouse, which is in Northeast DC. It's a great location. I went by there and I was able to park on the street, and they also have a garage within like a block of the location. My understanding is that the food is really good. I've actually never eaten there, but my understanding is that the food is really good, and it's going to be between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. The cost is $50. This is just food and regular drink. If you actually wanted to get like a mimosa, I think the mimosas are an additional $15.
For bottomless?
For bottomless. So for $50, you get food and regular non-alcoholic drink. If you want mimosas, the bottomless mimosa, I think, is an additional $15, so we didn't include that.
So just to get together, nothing like information, just hanging out.
So for on this, we probably will have little cards that show the events that are scheduled for 2020. We have this event every year, so it's just a holiday event for the chapter. Last year, we actually did make a profit from it, which was great, because any extra money or anything that we do is, my purpose is always to get scholarships or things that we can do for the young people at Xavier.
So you want to be friends that okay, or just mostly alumni?
No, everybody's welcome.
Okay.
No, we actually had, what was the really good turnout? So I forgot, and I didn't put this on here, but I'll make sure that it's on the notification email that goes out. We are collecting new and unwrapped toys for Tots. So I'm asking for the alumni, and I forgot to include it in the agenda, but it'll be in the update email. Please, please consider bringing a new and unwrapped toy for a young person during the holiday season.
So when will we do that for our next meeting?
No, our next meeting is in January, but our next event is the holiday party.
So,
That's the next time we'll get together, huh?
So you bring it to the front?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have the Toys for Tots box there,
Okay.
and for people to drop their new unwrapped toy in. So that actually came together really well. We did that when we were at Cream. We went to, we had a brunch at Cream. And so that's why I always say, for whatever reason, we only tend to get alumni to come out, or sometimes their spouses, but everyone is welcome. Like if you have friends who just want to come out and eat brunch and celebrate Xavier. So that's one of the things I saw at homecoming too. Those people didn't go to Xavier. It just showed up just to have a great time.
It was an HBCU.
Oh man, it was a wonderful time. It's great.
Better than when you went the year before?
Yes.
Because you didn't
And it was
put your
colder.
wallet in your-
Oh, no.
It was actually cold. It was cold the day of the Board of Governors meeting, like that Friday. It was windy and cold. The next day of the tailgate, it was awesome. And it was still cooler, but the sun was out. You could like be out. I had a sweater on. I had two sweaters on actually, and a t-shirt. But eventually I lost one of the sweaters. I found it back again, but it was a great
Like
time.
you lost your ID, what was it, or your wallet or something? You lose something
It's possible.
Possible. I don't have answers. I don't have answers to these questions. I'm sure I lost something. I had a great time though. So it's always fun and something really, really special. I think in terms of homecoming, it's getting back together with people you basically grew up with. So it's just a nice warm fuzzy feeling. So that's that. I don't have any other announcement that I can think of, but yeah, so brunch is $50 per person. Kids, they didn't tell us a cost for kids, so I'm assuming kids can come and there's no special price for that because this is buffet. They only gave us the price for per person, and that was, in my opinion, adults. I don't think somebody's bringing their baby and they're gonna eat like a whole adult. So I think that they should be okay.
Rather we're off for me. Like usually the kids have like chicken fingers and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we do have a preset brunch menu. And it's like chicken wings, and then they have that salmon, I think. And then there's other stuff that I don't remember off the top of my head. So the chairs for that are Calandra and Danielle Haney. And then John Jill Gamble is going to do the decor for us, because ultimately what's happened is we don't have any decor that we can reuse over and over again. And so I asked her to pick some items that we would be able to reuse so that the chapter will have those. So for the next event, maybe they pull out some of this stuff, and maybe, you know, you might add something for $20. But if we have some basic stuff for decorating, then we can use those things again and again. It's not the heavy lift. I would have to say, if you're looking at the money in the treasury, you can just see that number going down. I am spending the money. So I have purchased a step and repeat. I have purchased the tent. I purchased banners. So things that, but the nice thing, I know it is money, but the nice thing is that we'll purchase these things once and the chapter won't have to purchase them again. They can reuse them. Ultimately, that banner that was showing up at homecoming, I lost it. Yeah, it's tough at the airport. I think I put it down and forgot to pick it up. But the not bad thing about it is I paid for it from my own money. So it didn't come out of the chapter funds. I paid for it, but that sucks. I meant to bring it back because it was nice. Just have to. I tried. Yeah. I try. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't even realize it till the next day. And I was like, I feel like something's missing. You know, you feel like something's missing? Because I had been carrying it around with me.
Yeah,
trying to make sure I kept it. And I think I just put it down and just forgot.
The next time you probably just want to just have we go to Kinko's or just FedEx and just send it ahead.
That's probably the good thing, because what was impractical about it, I had like a small little roller bag and it was too big to fit in my little roller bag. So I don't know the better way there. So it's unfortunate, but it happened. But the nice thing, it didn't cost the chapter anything. I paid for it out of my own funds, but it was really, really nice. Did you get a chance to see it online? Did you see the thank you to our sponsors? Awesome. So yeah, the kids were super, super thankful too. And I keep calling them the kids, the students at Xavier. We're super thankful. Yeah, they are kids. And they look, y'all, they look super young. Yeah. Like you look at their faces and you're like, were we like this? I didn't look like that. No.
So looking back on the pictures,
we probably looked younger than they did. Because some of those, now when I tell y'all I had on 2 sweaters and a tank top out in their weather, some of these girls were naked. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm so old. I'm like, oh, that baby gotta be cold. She just need a little jacket or something. No, because they're out in like the hills and it's homecoming. And I'm like, yeah, so I was old. I'm like, oh, that baby needs she need a jacket and some gravy and a biscuit. So that's pretty much it. I do not have any other updates for this general body meeting. Again, for the meeting minutes, you missed this. Alvin, the minutes, we do not have a corresponding secretary anymore. He moved to Roanoke, Virginia. So I am not going to take the minutes. They are recorded. And that's what my camera is doing, is recording the meetings. So the recordings of our meetings go on our chapter Facebook page. So if you want to know what happened, I'll be sending out the link. Please go to our chapter Facebook, excuse me, not Facebook, but our chapter YouTube page. Follow us online, and, but follow us, and you can watch the meeting minutes there. Any other thing? Okay, then I think we can close the meeting. We are not gonna entertain a motion to close, obviously, because we are still, because we have enough members here that we are not constituting a quorum. All right. I'm going to turn off the camera now.
Is there any more?
I didn't hear it ping.
Oh, no one was on it?
I'm still gonna record it because this is how we,
These are our minutes.
these are the minutes.